Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Multicultural TV Talk, a Media Village podcast dedicated to highlighting on-screen talent and behind-the-scenes creatives from diverse and multicultural communities. I'm your host, Waniala. Thanks for tuning in. Now, let's get to talking. Today, I'm joined by star of stage and screen Rafi Barsoomian, who you know from projects such as The Code, The Vampire Diaries, and in the latest season of DC's Legends of Tomorrow on the CW as the villainous mad genius Bishop. Rafi, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, man.
So let's go back a bit. So, you get the call that you're going to be playing this new character on Legends on the CW. And what's going through your mind? Was the Arrowverse something that had been on your radar? It's been around for so long at this point.
No, I can't say particularly. I mean, I know about the shows and I follow them peripherally. It's not, I am not, I don't think, the target audience for most like comic book based shows. But I was really excited when the call came. I mean, I got the sides for the audition, and they were really fun. They were they're just kind of unusual. It was clear that this guy had kind of a quirky showman kind of personality, and I thought, oh, this is different, and this will be interesting to sort of explore. And so I had a lot of fun, like putting the audition together, and then when they offered it to me, I thought, okay, this will be a great challenge. There's some things that I haven't done before that'll be fun to sort of dive into, and so it was very exciting. Also, like knowing the world, knowing the show a little bit, and knowing kind of how off the wall it can be. I thought, oh, there's a lot of room to play here, which was exciting.
Yeah, of all the Arrowverse series, the villains on Legends are the ones that look like they're having like the most fun.
Yeah. There's a long tradition of that, I think, on the show.
What I especially like about the show, above the rest, though, I do love all the shows. I'm totally the target audience for anything comic book related. But with Legends, they don't take themselves too seriously. They're okay with being silly and all that.
They're very self-aware, very kind of like not reverential, which I really enjoy.
So growing up, is there any performance you saw that had inspired you to be an actor?
The first thing I remember seeing as a kid, I like with our school, we'd gone in to catch a touring production of Cyrano de Bergerac, and I just remember kind of being blown away. It was a touring show, so it was probably like a cast of 5 to 8 actors. And I just remember them doing these massive like crowd scenes, just really inventive ways, using like puppets or dolls and things like that, and just it just looked like a blast. And that has always stuck in my mind as sort of like the first like, oh, that looks like a fun thing that that they're all doing up there. I'd like to do that. So kind of trace it back to that.
And seeing as you had a lot of theater experience prior to sort of delving into TV and whatnot. Was TV and film and on-screen acting something that interested you at all, or did it there's so many misconceptions about the industry. If you want to do theater, you have to be in one place. If you want to do film or TV, you got to be somewhere else. So what was that like for you?
I mean, I think that was a thing back in the day, especially when I was like sort of a kid and looking at sort of models of careers to look at. I think things were very compartmentalized, which has changed a lot, I think, in recent years. I actually I fell in love with movies. I wanted to be in movies. I remember as a kid, just my dad would take us to movies all the time, and I thought, God, that would be fun. And so that was sort of my first hook into it. And I also grew up in Los Angeles, so it's sort of in the ether there. And I, over time, as I got closer to like college, I thought, okay, I want to train. And I started looking around at schools, and, I found, it's, schools are based in theater training, and for acting, I wanted to go to a kind of a conservatory theater training school, particularly because a lot of the actors I admired had come out of the theater. I didn't really know very much about the theater, done little bits in high school and things like that, but really it was at college where I just sort of got immersed in that world, and I was like, oh, this is where it's at, and I really fell in love with like learned about theater, learned about the history, and started doing more and more of it, and that sort of started my career doing mostly theater, and hopefully will continue to do so.
And, because our show focuses a lot on representation and highlighting people who are from communities that are not traditionally represented, is there a particular film or TV show that you had watched when you were younger where you first felt like seen or represented?
Yeah, this is a complicated question for me, only because I don't, I'm Armenian ethnically, so I don't think I ever had the expectation that I would see myself. We're just such a small minority in America that it didn't cross my mind that that would be a thing. I wasn't like, the closest we come to as Armenians is we'll wait and scan the credits at the end of the thing, and if we see like a Armenian last name in the credits, we get really excited. It's usually very like low at the bottom, and so I don't think I had that expectation. Honestly, I'm kind of a generous audience, and I watched things, and I see myself in all of it. I see myself in the heroes as the stories are meant to be told. Though I do remember specifically, like as a kid, going and seeing this the screening that my parents were going to when they took us to, of a film called Calendar by Atomegoyan. And that's the first time when I was like, oh, what? Atomegoyan is Armenian Canadian director, and the film had like storylines that came in and out of Armenia, and I thought, oh, that's a thing. Oh, there are Armenians who do this. Oh, that's interesting. So I remember that was sort of the first time I clocked it. And ever since, like, anytime you see it, he later made a movie called Ararat, and which was deeply about the Armenian experience, and like when you see things like that, it's like there is a feeling of like, oh wow, hey, look at that. But in general, I find that I see myself in anything I watch, really.
Yeah, it's important to have that perspective too, not just of seeing oneself represented culturally, but just one's personality. Like, oh my God, like, me growing up, I totally related to like every nerdy character that came up. I was like, Peter Parker, that's totally me.
Yeah. Honestly, I think as a kid, I watched Braveheart a lot. I loved the idea of like being that Scottish warlord. I was like, I haven't got no roots in Scotland, but I was like, that story resonated with me.
Now, we always ask our guests a couple of our closing questions. One of them being, if you told a 13-year-old you that you'd made it this far, would they believe you?
I think my 13-year-old self would be like, come on, man, let's do some more. Where are the movies? I think my 13-year-old self was a little delusional. So but I think he'd be pretty thrilled.
And what advice would you give to that 13-year-old you?
For me, it's I think I would say, because I heard this a lot from adults coming in the business, and I would always be like, yeah, whatever, where they tell me, like, make your own thing, do your own thing, make it yourself. And I thought, no, I'm an actor, I just want to get hired and do a job. And like I think I would try and listen, give myself that advice, and try and listen to it this time. Just like, do it yourself, make a thing. If you want to do a movie, make a movie, write a script. Self-generation, it would take you a lot farther, I think, in this business than sitting around and waiting for a phone call.
Rafi, thank you so much for joining us today on the show. Where can folks find you on Instagram if they want to give you a follow?
It's at Rafi Barsumian.
And you can follow us at MediaVillage.com on Instagram. Thank you all for listening. Head on over to MediaVillage.com for our latest reviews and interviews. And don't miss Rafi Barsumian as Bishop on the CW show, DC's Legends of Tomorrow. I'm Haniala, and this is Multicultural TV Talk.